big night there for Barcelona with a 4-0 first leg win over Dortmund. And let's have a look at this. Barcelona's big three stats from that game. Raphinha, Lamine Yamal and Robert Lewandowski. I mean, how good are they, Nico? They were absolute quality last night.
It's difficult to ignore that there's a very similar energy with not only the front three, but the entire Barcelona team from that 2015 team.
It's hard for me until they actually win the things.
Right.
So in my head, I can't kind of get past that. So I'm assuming Suarez is Lewandowski, Raphinha is Neymar, and Yamal is
Messi.
Right? Okay.
I think there's differences.
No.
Like it's not a like-for-like trio, right?
No, but again, for me, if they win a treble this year, then we're starting to have.
Then they consider the table.
Right? Yeah, and then they've got to maybe follow up with something next year, whether it's the title, whether it's another deep run in Champions League. Like I need to see just a little bit more, but I know where you're going. If you told me like 3 years from now, like this happened, they won a treble in 25 and they did something in 25, 26, I'd be like, yeah, we saw that coming. But yeah, they're not too far off. I can't put them in that category yet, but they're getting close.
No one can. If you don't have the titles to show for it, ultimately, because this is a results-driven business, you can't really put them at the same table. But Messi is Messi, but objectively, Lamine Yamal is doing things at this age that Messi wasn't doing at that age.
Yeah.
Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi got us accustomed to superlative excellence for 15 years. And just the next year, he's going to be the best in the world the next year. Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi, they're going to be the best in the world next year. And the year after that, they're going to be the best in the world, without a doubt. We grew so accustomed to that. And that's not normal. That wasn't normal ever. Pelé wasn't that good. Maradona wasn't that good so consistently for so many years. Ronaldinho wasn't that good so consistently for so many years. Messi and Ronaldo were at the top of their game. So saying that this kid is going to be the best in the world for 15 years running is a lot easier said. That he's going to have to put in a lot of work. He has the potential to do that.
I'm just saying, I don't think we're anywhere near his ceiling yet.
Is this Barcelona team the best team in the world right now? Ooh,
yes.
Everyone's thinking.
Yes, and PSG is here. We split hairs.
Yeah.
Yesterday on Champions Club. And if you told me it was like that, PSG was a little bit better than Barcelona, I believe you too.
And oddly, we probably, if you asked this question 4 months ago, we probably wouldn't have said, because Liverpool was cruising at the time. There were other teams. This PSG side especially, we probably wouldn't have said it at the beginning of the season, right? But this is the growth of young teams, right? This is the growth of managers that are putting the building blocks together, adding one thing every week to what they're doing in the attack and how they approach things defensively and the mentality of the team. And I don't think we should discount what these two managers, we gave Luis Enrique a little bit of love earlier, Hansi Flick, who wasn't the choice that people around the world thought that this Barcelona side needed. Now all of a sudden he becomes it's easy to say now this is what they needed, but in August or September, whenever it was that they hired him in the summer, he wasn't the guy that everyone said he's gonna turn this team into the attacking team that they are. I mean, he's done a pretty good job.
Raphinha this season in the UCL, 11 matches, 12 goals, 7 assists. Basically, goals and assists are the same as the year when Messi won the Ballon d'Or with those stats. So, essentially, Nico, this is lining up the fact that Raphinha should probably win it, but then will it be dependent on who wins the Champions League as well?
Champions League, without a doubt. It depends, because I think Barcelona are in the driver's seat to win a triplete. But you have to go out and win the triplete before you're crowned Ballon d'Or. Like the numbers are the numbers, and they speak for themselves. And I think you can argue just from the eye test the way that Lamine Yamal gravitates, that he takes people on. He shows this world-class ability week in and week out. Maybe his production levels aren't at Raphinha's, but Lamine Yamal deserves serious consideration in this conversation. And as the rounds go by and Barcelona potentially continues advancing and wins their other tournaments available to them, perhaps, we're really feeling a crown being put on somebody's head. Barça wins the triplete. Barça wins La Liga, Copa del Rey, and Champions League. And Lewandowski has an important hand like he's had already in Barça winning those 3 titles. You wouldn't consider him up there as a candidate, as a serious candidate not to win it, not the favorite, but as a serious candidate amongst the top 5?
Because he's going to be somewhere in the 35 to 40 goal range by that time. I guess you'd have to consider him. Yeah.
We can have a look at this as well, which is going to be PSG's goal and assist leaders in the UCL. Dembele at the top there with 9. But what you can see, Nico, is that there's a lot of contributors. And of course, they went 1-0 down. How did they turn things around then?
I don't think they turned anything around. I think they just kept on playing their game because up until the goal, they were the better team by a country mile. They outclassed Villa, who decided to drop a little bit deeper, protect their goal. They were doing well at times, especially when it was 2-1. I think they would have walked away from that 2-1 sensing that there was still a lot of hope to turn things around at Villa Park. But the fact that it was 3-1 at the end of the day was very reflective of the scoreline. I would say maybe they should have even got more.
But I'm with Nico. They didn't change very much, Nicole, right? They had dominated really from the first minute, and you knew what Aston Villa was trying to do, and it worked. 35 minutes in, they were set up to be in a counterattacking posture. They get the counterattacking goal. You think, okay, it's a great away goal, but the response was incredible from PSG. We saw Kvaratskhelia there, but you can go through anyone. Doué, Dembele, who probably was maybe a little bit quieter last night than we've seen him in the last couple of weeks, but still equally as effective. Vitinha, for me, just kind of controls things.
It feels like the front three, it's so exciting to watch because it's really a front four, and everybody but Dembele rotates in Kvaratskhelia, in Doué, in Bradley Barcola. Ironically enough, Dembele of the front three was the quietest yesterday. And because it is exciting, because you do get those moments of quality. Doué was a difference maker in a critical moment, right? This is the beauty of Champions League. When you're playing football at this level, sometimes you need to find a quick solution, and it is through an outrageous golazo in Désiré Doué, a teenager scoring that type of goal. But I feel like this overshadows the midfield of PSG and how good they are. Because, I don't know, Vitinha, João Neves, Fabian Ruiz, I don't know how sexy that is overall. I don't know if people are on paper looking at that and saying, it is unbelievable.
And Nico, you just said he's 19. He's a boy, but what a talent. And here are the stats for the season comparison. First 21 appearances this season, and then last 22 appearances. I mean, look at that number of goals and assists. It feels like he's feeling good, he's feeling confident, and you can see that on the pitch, can't you, Tony?
Yeah, okay. We've seen stars grow up in PSG, right? We've seen Mbappe grow up, and a kid like Zaire Emery's growing up here. And, you look at this is someone who doesn't play a heck of a lot at the beginning of the year with 8 starts, and then all of a sudden he's learning his trade, and he's getting better, and he gets 18 starts, and we're seeing another player grow up right now, and a guy who can make a difference. The impact yesterday was that you go down 1-0, what was that, 35th minute, and just a couple minutes later, he makes a play like that, right? So if you think about it from the Aston Villa standpoint, you're like, okay, plan 35 minutes in, plan A is working, right? And then you take a gut punch, right, with the goal and a really special goal. So that's the impact, but there's like an organized chaos in the way that them and Barcelona play, where they know what they're doing. The problem is defensively, you can't figure out all the movement, and that's where. But you mentioned, Ruiz and Neves in the midfield with Vitinha. Outstanding.
They give this team the metronome. They make it tick, right? And the front three on top of that, they play a complex brand of football, PSG, because the front three is completely fluid, and it's not like they play 20 minutes on the left wing and 20 minutes on the right wing, Kvaratskhelia and Doué. One player on the left and the other player on the right, and they're switching constantly. It's fluid. And for a 19-year-old to understand that, to have the maturity level to say, all right, I can bask in this fluidity that Luis Enrique wants from me, speaks very highly of the potential that a kid like Désiré Doué has, and how he's ready for this level and to have even more of an opportunity.
Shall we chat a bit about this Aston Villa side then? What positives can we take away from their performance? Okay, Nico, none? Surely,
no,
come on.
They withstood the storm for a very long time.
Yeah.
And like I said in the first segment of the show, if they would have walked away with a 2-1, there was a lot of hope to overturn. I think it's going to be a different game at Villa Park. No two footballing games are the same. Two football games are the same. But PSG are going to want to control like they controlled in the first game. And I think that they see an opportunity here. It's a weaker Villa side compared to what they had to face against Liverpool, who have a little bit more explosiveness and dynamism that was difficult to stifle holding the ball because Liverpool wants the ball as well. But Villa are going to have to put on one hell of a heroic performance in Birmingham if they want to walk away with this. I'm not too sure if Unai Emery has all the answers. I wondered, thinking about those subs in the 80th minute, I wonder if he thought that the onslaught was too much. He went into stop the bleeding mode, damage control for as long as we can in the 80th minute, right? 10 minutes left, let's go for it here and try to get the 2-2. He made the subs. Villa improved. They ended up conceding a third, which was pretty bad at the very end. A great play by Nuno Mendes. And that ultimately could be the difference maker. Just that fills PSG with even more optimism, gives them more confidence. They asked Luis Enrique right after the game, like what he felt about, the 3-1 instead of 2-1. And he was really political about it. He didn't want to respect Aston Villa, but if I'm PSG, I'm feeling, hell yeah, we're gonna go there. This is I can visualize myself having a confident game and almost in the semifinal. Obviously, you have to play the second leg, blah blah, all that stuff. But it reinforced how good and how much better PSG were than Villa. Yeah,
Tony, what did you make of Emi Martinez's performance?
Good performance, 8 saves on the night. There were a couple good plays, but from a goalkeeper coaching standpoint, you're looking at it and said, well, this is how we can get better at doing this. So just a small detail, but an incredible look from Doué. But Emi Martinez was good on the night. He had, I think, 8 saves, right? It was in the end, a couple really good ones. And there's the one off the line, right?
Yeah, that was crazy.
And I don't know how he scooped the ball around off the line. I mean, it's just one of those reactions. You're just like surviving at that point. But not terrible for sure.
This is my backlining goalkeeper, Jan Sommer. In net, I thought out of the 8 goalkeepers, he was the best. Maybe shouts for Courtois, maybe shouts for Dibu Martinez, but they lost, so I couldn't put him in there. I loved Hakimi's game. I loved Saliba's game. Bastoni had won a lot of duels on the ground, in the air, and Carlos Augusto. I wanted to work in Miles Lewis-Skelly in there, but Augusto, he had a hand in both of Inter's goals, especially the one late. That was the winner. We forgot that Di Marco didn't even play, and we've been talking about Di Marco being arguably the best left back in the world.
You wonder what Inzaghi does in leg 2 with this, because he was really good.
Definitely. And then in the midfield, you have to put Declan Rice. I imagine we're going to have a lot of overlap here. Nicolo Barella was sensational, and Fermin Lopez as well. Fermin, he's, between a role player and a starter. Is it him? Is it Gavi? For sure the 2 starters are Pedri and De Jong. When almost fit, Fermin doesn't start, right? He had a huge game last night.
Yeah, he was one, you'll see mine in a second. I struggled with him, right? Because I'm thinking about the attack of Barcelona. This guy played in the 10, right? He was right in the middle of everything. Right. And I'll bury the lead. I didn't put him in mind, but he's one guy I struggled with.
Yeah, it's difficult. I think inevitably you leave a lot of guys out. I would have maybe liked Partey in my team. Partey had a really good game. And then up top, how do you not put Lamine? How do you not put Robert Lewandowski for the goal involvements? He might have had, 3 shots in the whole game, and he got 2 goals. The effectiveness, the killer instinct of Lewandowski. He might not have an extraordinary performance, but he ends up scoring the goals anyway.
I'm smiling because it's so interesting the way we were thinking about this.
Lautaro, I didn't know. Forget about the formation, right? Lautaro's not going to be a left winger, but I had to put in Lautaro in there because the goal was one of the nicest goals the whole match day, and he's growing into his best form of the season.
We were thinking the same. So here you go. David Raya, the only reason I put him in there was the clean sheet and the one save that he had to make when Mbappe's, coming down on him 1v1. Not a difficult save, but an opportunity, right? But he gets a shutout. So for me, that was like the starting point. You had to get a shutout in this one.
Okay.
I thought Saliba was we talked about this Arsenal defense and how they were in shambles. They lose Gabriel, and this guy stepped up for me. Lewis Skelly, I needed him in the game. I needed the 18-year-old in the game. I think, and what I'm reading is, and everyone, Arsenal fans will tell me more, his best game in an Arsenal jersey, right? I thought he was outstanding in this one.
He looks very mature.
He does. He doesn't play, like, he's got an edge, an attitude, a fight, a battle in him. And for center backs and for wing backs especially, right? Because the openness of the game, I look at sort of the tactical awareness of where they are. In 18, remember the responsibility he had with Arteta this midweek. Defend in the wide areas, play in the midfield when they had the ball. It's an important role that he played.
The way that he's come onto the scene, all of a sudden, incredible. Yeah.
And of course, I think we agreed on Hakimi. He was just outstanding. Barella and Çalhanoğlu, for me, they were the engines. They are the engines for Inter Milan. They play in a 3 again. I went 3-4-3, so don't get caught up in the formation. I thought they were both world class the other night. Vitinha, I had to get him in.
How did I not put Vitinha? Who do I take off?
This is where I struggled with Firmino. Like, this is where I was like, with these two guys, he's such a general, and I know he plays in the middle of the field, but I had to squeeze him in my midfield. And, of course, Declan Rice, probably the MVP of this entire thing based on the 2 goals and what they meant for Arsenal and all of that. And then up top, I think we had 2. We had Yamal and Lewandowski. We both agreed on these 2. And I had, when I sent Chris, our producer, the original one, Lautaro was in there, and then I crossed it out, and I sent him a revised one. Kvaratskhelia, for me, was outstanding. It puts players we know under pressure. We were sat right here in this room watching this on the big screen, and we're in awe of him just putting players under pressure. Even when he loses the ball, he makes it so difficult. Disasi is probably having some nightmares of the fact that he had to come in at halftime and deal with him and the goal and all of that. But we were in the same arena with all of these picks. So many great players, great performances, but this might all change in leg 2, right, when we redo it.
Yes, absolutely. These are our teams of the week. Reach out to us. Tell us if we got it right, if we got it wrong.